or the families of victims of dodgy builders around the state, that Danny Pearson and Jacinta Allen have finally been dragged kicking and screaming by the Liberals and Nationals to extend that support, to extend that scheme that was offered to Porter Davis customers to victims of other companies like the victims of Montego Homes. This is all about really enforcement. Porter Davis should have been a wake-up call for this government to act on dodgy builders, to make sure the compliance was happening, to make sure that builders were taking out insurance on behalf of those customers. The great Australian dream in this state has become the great Labor nightmare for these families. It is just heartbreaking what these families have gone through. We've been asking, since the collapse of Montego Homes, we've been asking for the same support to be given for customers on Montego Homes. I spoke to you in the media in Doreen over a month ago with Jess from Doreen, who's a single mum who's worked so hard to afford her first home, only to have it taken away by a dodgy builder and through a lack of government compliance and government enforcement. So I want to introduce you to Jess, and for Jess to speak about this win today.
Hi everyone. Firstly, the foremost person we need to thank is Evan. Evan has been instrumental in lobbying for us and keeping our story alive. Like, he promised us from the start that he would keep fighting for us, and he has. And John the same. Like, it's really hard to explain how we feel right now. You know, it's so emotional. This morning started with doing happy dances around the house and then bawling our eyes out just for the fact that I'm going to have a home. You know, I didn't do anything wrong, and I lost, I spent 8 years saving for my home as a single mum. Have that taken away I can't even explain. It's not devastating, it's crushing. It's just everything around you just disappearing, but today, we say thank you to everyone who helped, and thank you to Jacinta for having a heart and letting us have the Australian dream back. So we just want to say thank you.
Thank you very much. Did you want to do any questions, or we'll just switch to the other issues?
Yeah, we might take questions at the end.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about some other things,
sure.
Jess, so we might deal with those, and then we'll bring you back in for some other things. Just wanted to add to Evan's comments. Let's remember that the Allen Labor government was warned about the financial risks surrounding the residential construction sector in Victoria nearly 2 years ago, and it did nothing. And had it acted, had it made sure that its agencies under their watch were doing their job to enforce the law, make sure that deposits were not accepted from people like Jess until insurance policies were in place, then we wouldn't see victims of Montego or even victims of Porter Davis if the government had been doing its job. It could have made sure that insurance was in place. So I echo, and I want to recognise Evan's work with communities to force this change on the government, which was for too long coming, but it's here and we welcome it. I wanted to address today the Allen Labor government's contempt of the Victorian Parliament. When you ignore a documents production motion calling on the government to release the Ken Lay report, when the government's had it for so many months, more than 9 months now. It's an issue that is causing enormous uncertainty around our CBD and surrounding suburbs. People want to know what's in this report. The upper house of the Victorian Parliament ordered the Allen Labor government, in particular the Attorney General Jacqueline Symes, to produce that report today. It's not going to do so. That's contemptuous of the Victorian Parliament and the Victorian people, to be honest about it. What's worse is the government is relying on the doctrine of executive privilege. Now, we find that very strange. One, that they've left it to the last day, the day of production, to actually invoke that ground. But more importantly, we've heard from the government today in the media and just a few moments ago in the upper house that they plan to release the document when they release their response. And our question is, how can you claim executive privilege in those circumstances? It's all opportunistic, and it's all about protecting the political interests of the Allen Labor government rather than being truthful and transparent with the Victorian people and the community, the business community, community services in the CBD, who just want to know what's in the report. And we all deserve to know what's in the report. So I might hand over to David Davis now, who'll talk a bit more detail about what we've been able to achieve today in the upper house.
There's a series of documents which have been ordered by the upper house over recent period. This